So, does mom want inclusion for her child, or does she just want him to be catered to because he's neurodivergent? Right or wrong puzzle piece? What do you think? Let's get into it. Hello, parents and caregivers of those fantastically neurodivergent kids out there. This is your dope autism mama, Miss P, coming back to you with another installment of Am I the Wrong Puzzle Piece? So today we're going to be talking about Am I the wrong puzzle piece for telling a parent that her autistic child shouldn't be at a sports camp? Okay, so let's dive right on into it. Oh, and before we do, thank you so very much for everyone that has subscribed. If you have not subscribed already, please do so. Thank you so much for even tuning in. Like, share, please comment. I love the comments and I do answer them. Thank you so much for once again coming on through and hanging out with your good sis, Miss P. All right, so right to it. Am I the wrong puzzle piece for telling a parent that her autistic child shouldn't be at a sports camp? Okay, so it starts with throwaway because I'm probably the wrong puzzle piece on this. I, 20 female, have coached a sports camp over the summer for the last several years at my local elementary school. The camp covers all sorts of sports and games for kids in elementary school to let them try many different sports and see which ones might stick. This year, we've started an inclusion program for kids on the spectrum where inclusion specialists work at our camp specifically to look after those kids and help them through the camp if they need it. I really enjoyed this program, and nothing is better than watching a kid find a sport they enjoy or excel at. I appreciate that. That's good. That's a good thing. Fast forward to this week, the third week, we're holding the camp, and enter Connor and his mother, Sarah. Fake names, obviously. Connor is 10, on the older side for this camp, and when we first met him in the morning, he seemed like a pretty good kid to work with at a camp. The problem was his mother. Uh-oh. She pulled me aside before the day started to specifically tell me about what Connor needed. Turns out Connor had pretty severe meltdowns, and what triggered them was losing. His mother asked me to make sure Connor never lost a game. Child, bye. This included his team never losing, letting him win all the races, making sure his team came first in the relays, never letting him get tagged in tag. What? And never letting him get eliminated in any sort of last man standing game. I told her on no uncertain terms that I couldn't control that, and that was unfair to the other kids if I told them to always let him win, which it would be unfair, in my opinion. She was not happy about this and told me that they were trying to avoid meltdowns this week and that he was working on it. But losing was still incredibly emotional for him. I told her that she really shouldn't have sent him to a sports camp if she thought it would put him in distress or force all the other kids to cater to him. She asked me what the hell the inclusion program was for, and I told her it meant I, as a coach, could help him and his inclusion specialist could help him, but the other kids weren't a part of this inclusion program. She left very angry, but left Connor with us for the day, during which he had 2 meltdowns that the inclusion specialist dealt with, but I started feeling guilty. Oh. The whole point of the program was to allow kids like him to participate, but I didn't want to sacrifice the other kids' experience just for him. So, am I the wrong puzzle piece? I got some thoughts about this, but she put an edit. So, edit. Thank you so much for your interactions, but here's a few quick details that I think got lost along the way. Number 1, this is not just a camp for neurodivergent kids. We brought a program in to integrate those kids in with the neurotypical kids. Over the past 3 weeks, there's been about a 10-to-1 ratio of neurotypical to neurodivergent. This is a pretty small camp, 20 to 30 kids max. And my neighbor used to run this camp when I was in high school, but when I graduated, he handed a lot of it over to me. He now runs the financial, location, marketing, and legal stuff while I organize most of the camp itself, along with a few other coaches, 2 of whom are still in high school, 2 in college. There isn't really a supervisor or higher up I can hand the mother over to except for the inclusion specialist. Hope this helps. Okay. Wait a minute. Another edit. Edit number 2. I don't hire the inclusion specialists, nor do I know exactly what they're qualified with, but they are working through a separate program outside our camp that we partnered with. They match the neurodivergent kids one-to-one, and they are provided with all the information with the kids, including lists of triggers and what calms them down. They are all qualified adults, real adults, not college students and high schoolers like the coaches. And as far as I could tell, they handled Connor's meltdowns with a lot of patience and expertise and got him back to playing with the other kids within a half hour or so after each inciting incident. When I originally told Sarah that the camp was likely not a good fit for Connor, I was more thinking about how the kid would be miserable in a cycle of meltdowns all day and not about the qualifications of the inclusion program. Okay. So before I go into the coach's update, so for me, no, you are not the wrong puzzle piece. For one, mom insisting that her child Connor wins by any means necessary, even if it means sacrificing all the other children's happiness, that's just, in my opinion, wrong on so many levels. I mean, I understand, of course I understand, I'm a mother of 2 children with autism, and I know that the meltdowns exist. I know that they have triggers, I know what makes them tick. So for me as a mom, I'm not going to put my children in a position where, their meltdowns are going to cause so much intrinsic heartache for other children just because, I want them to be included in something. I'm going to find them sports or activities for them to do where everybody there is equipped, so to speak, to ensure that they can handle what my children bring to the table. The triggers, the meltdowns, everything. I think that what this coach did with making sure that qualified people are there, it looks like more like paraprofessionals, in that word, especially, when they talk about one-to-one with the children, was an absolute great idea to do. And that gives those neurodivergent kids an opportunity to be able to see the activities, learn the activities, and, the one-to-one coaches can help them through, meltdowns, triggers, and everything else so that they can be able to enjoy everything that those sports or activities have to offer. So not by any means do I believe that this coach is the wrong puzzle piece. As a matter of fact, you are the right puzzle piece and you fit so friggin' well. So kudos to you for putting everything in place that you could. And kudos to you for letting mom know, what everything is about, what the coaching was about, what the sports entail, and, who you have in place. Mama really should not have just stormed off and just left her child and really didn't, put in what makes the child tick, what triggers the child and everything else. She just got angry and she blew off, and that's not right. That's unfair to the other children and the other parents as well. It was just so not cool on so many levels. So she put an update up here. Update. Thank you so much to everyone for your advice, comments, anecdotes, and support. I really appreciated it. Good news. Connor came back today, this time with his dad, who didn't offer any sort of complaints or comments about yesterday to me or the inclusion therapist. From the 2 days and now 5 meltdowns, all lasting under an hour each, we've had with Connor, I believe either his mother underestimated his emotional regulation and ability to move on from losses, or the inclusion specialist was able to curb and limit his meltdowns better than she did at home. Child. We try to mitigate the situations where he would lose. For example, we didn't keep score during the large matches, but elimination games caused the meltdowns. For the record, he didn't melt down every time he was eliminated or tagged, and he really wanted to participate in those games with the other kids, which is why we didn't pull him from them. I think that is awesome. Absolutely awesome. So let's see what others in the Reddit had to say. Okay, here's one. Not the wrong puzzle piece, but you need to loop in your supervisor. It's not your call on who should and shouldn't be in this camp. For me, I don't believe that the coach was actually doing that, saying who should and shouldn't be in the camp. I believe that the coach was just letting the parent know that this is what's in place, this is who we have in place, and if you believe that this is too overwhelming for your child, don't put your child in a position that it's going to trigger them to a point where they're not going to enjoy themselves, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Okay, let's see what else others had to say. Inclusion is tricky because it's meant to include a student, equal opportunity, at the same time expose the student to real world scenarios like group settings, diverse stimuli, and challenges. Absolutely. Unless this student has other disabilities, a 10-year-old should be taught that losing is a part of the game and how to handle it. If the meltdowns aren't completely disruptive to the game or the team, it's okay that he has them because it's part of the learning process. That's why he has an aide. Absolutely. Listen, I am a firm believer, especially after all the years that I've had to deal with not just my children with autism, but being a teacher assistant as well as a paraprofessional to children that have varying developmental delays. It's my belief that, any child can be worked with as long as you put in the effort of working with them. And, if they are at a point in their neurodivergent life that, they're able to learn how to be able to cope with certain situations, or they need guidance with coping those situations, we as moms, parents, dads, caregivers, coaches, paraprofessionals, one-to-ones, should be able to ensure that these children learn the best way that they possibly can. Daily living and everything that comes with it is a very big part of, their developmental process. And we should be doing everything possible to teach them, the things that are a part of life. And one of those things is sometimes we do lose. It's not the worst thing in the world. We know that it can be a bit devastating, but it is a part of life. And, we have to do everything that we can to ensure that they understand that, with wins, there's losses, with, good times, there's bad times. It's a yin and a yang to everything. So, we just have to, gear ourselves up and be prepared to ensure that they learn everything that they can the best way that they can. I really liked this story, and I'm really glad that the coach did what she needed to do to ensure that everybody was a part of it. Everybody can be included. And I know those neurodivergent babies were very, very happy to be a part of the program. So listen, guys, thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Once again, I am your dope autism mama, Miss P. Like, share, subscribe. Please, please, please comment, because I cannot wait to read your comments. Give me your stories. Tell me things. Are you the right or the wrong puzzle piece? I will check with you guys in another week with this. Have a great day. you.